Looks like we got the loading situation sorted out. Ashley is getting ready to take the platform.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2026 USA Powerlifting Illinois State Championship Primetime session. We are getting started with the second attempts of our women's flight. So we have only covered the opening attempts for the women. So we are moving along to the first attempt of the second flight of the first flight. So we're getting kicked off with Andrea Serna taking 122.5 kilos. So far, all the women have successfully hit their opening squats. So all white lights from there, and expect to see some fairly consistent lifting from all these primetime lifters.
Absolutely being held to a certain standard in competition as they progress throughout their careers, as well as being held to a certain standard by their coaches, truly helps them excel throughout the sport, continue to put up good numbers and good performances. Andrea approaching the platform. 122.5 for her second attempt. Little bit of a grind there, but she pushes through it. Judges say 3 white lights and a good lift.
Yeah, Andrea Serna is one lifter who's not unfamiliar to this platform. I mean, she's competed at the 2024 and 2025 state championships, so she's a veteran coming into this competition. And up next, we have Cheryl Stewart, who is taking 130 kilos for her second attempt, a 7.5 kilo jump. A bit of a tougher attempt there for Cheryl, but that seems to be easy work, and she gets 2-to-1. Good lift. And for those of you who are new to powerlifting, it is a majority rule system here as far as the referees. So lifters only need 2 white lights from any of the referees and any of the sides in order for the lift to be a good lift. Conversely, if a lifter receives 2-to-1, 2 red lights, that will be a no lift. But in this case, she gets a good lift.
Next up, representing UIC Powerlifting, we have Ashley Huang coming to the platform, taking 142.5 for her second attempt squat.
And this will already be a 2.5 kilo PR squat attempt for Ashley. Her previous best coming into this competition was 140 kilos. And that is an easy attempt. And I mean, given the speed, I mean, you can kind of just see the progress she's made over the course of her training.
Absolutely, that's 2.5 over her PB. Made it move very well.
And that's one thing you'll notice with these lifters in particular in the primetime session is these lifters carry a lot of experience under their belts, and they're taking that experience here onto the primetime stage, looking to either qualify for nationals, set records, or just make a name for themselves, given the opportunity to compete among some of the best lifters in the state of Illinois.
Absolutely. Powerlifting is one of those sports where you work for months at a time and only get to show it off every couple times a year. So it's always good for these athletes to come out and show all the hard work they've been putting in.
Sydney up next, taking a 7.5 kilo jump, 150 kilos on the bar.
Very easy work out of her second attempt.
Sydney coming to us from Catalyst Strength out in Chicago, Illinois.
She'll receive 3 white lights on that one. Coming up to the platform next, we have Maram McCloof from McKendree University. Maram is up 5 kilos from her opener, taking 155 for her second attempt.
And it's very nice to see a lot of these lifters who are in the collegiate scene or juniors that are in the teen division. I mean, Maram, I believe she's in between ages 19 and 20,
Yep.
right? So she's one of those young talents here competing in primetime among some of the best lifters.
Good rebound on that squat. Jumps right out of the hole. Judges say 2-1. That is a good lift. Looks like the red was from the right side, Judge, so she'll have to go check with the judge and figure out what she needs to work on for next time.
And there's several different infractions that a lifter can receive throughout the squat. You have to listen to two commands, which is the squat command and the rack command. Lifters have to maintain their position. They can't move their feet laterally between commands, and they most importantly have to hit depth. And for those of you wondering what depth is in powerlifting, it is your hip crease has to go below the top surface of your knee. So that is the main indicator for, and oftentimes it's the main reason as to why lifters tend to miss squats, which would be on depth. So that's one key thing that lifters are training for.
Sarah makes fairly easy work of 157.5 for her second attempt. She'll earn 3 white lights and a good lift. Next up, we have Kara. Kara's taking 160 kilograms, up 7.5 from her opening attempt.
Solid attempt there by Kara, and I believe she gets 3 red lights. I'm not sure what it was. We can double check that, but she gets 3 red lights. Unfortunately, a no lift, but she will have one more attempt on her third to retry that or potentially go up.
Bradly Throgmorton representing the Bearcats of McHenry University coming to the platform next for her second attempt squat.
Yeah, McKendree is one of those teams that is heavily represented at this championships. It's very nice to see a lot of collegiate involvement. A lot of lifters either qualifying for collegiate nationals, which is out in New Orleans in April, or raw nationals in June out in Lombard, Illinois.
Nice second attempt from Briley. Looks like she's got some room left in the tank. She'll earn 3 white lights and a good lift.
And again, one of our young talents, a junior lifter competing in the primetime stage.
Next up, we have Alice Lee representing the Strong Babes. Alice's best squat previously was 165. Have 170 loaded up on the bar, 5 kg above her PB. Looking to add a new PR.
She competed last year at the 2025 Illinois State Championship, looking to come back here and claim back the title in the 2026 states.
Looks to be good depth, jumps out of the hole. Very good second attempt squat, 2-1. That is a good lift.
Izzy Rivera, another lifter from McHenry University. I believe an alumni now. Did she graduate?
She is currently a graduate assistant at McHenry, so yeah. She graduated last year, exhausted some of her eligibility for collegiate nationals, so she'll be helping out with the team, competing in some of the meets around the area. Doing her thing, keep getting stronger.
And again, believe it or not, even at the young age of 22, she is, I would say, a more veteran to the sport. She's competed at multiple national championships. She's competed at IDFPA Worlds. I mean, she's been all around the country competing in the sport of powerlifting. So that she is somebody that brings in a lot of talent, a lot of experience to the table.
Izzy claimed an All-American spot at collegiate nationals last year in Oklahoma City, taking second place, I believe. Smooth second attempt there for Izzy. Judges say 3 white lights and a good lift. That will take us back to the top of the lineup to kick off third attempts. Andrea will be leading the pack, taking 127.5 for her third attempt squat. A little bit of a grind there, unfortunately, does not come up with it. That will be a no lift for Andrea. I'd like to take a quick second to shout out some of our event sponsors who are in the house today or supporting from afar. We have MoFit Activewear, A7, McKendree Powerlifting, Notorious Lift, Blanco Strength Systems, Sushi Primos, Gonzo's Barbell, Better Through the Barbell, and Barbell Barn and Muhammad. Here we have Cheryl Stewart taking 132.5 for her third attempt.
Her best squat coming into this competition was 127.5 kilos. So after her second attempt, she already best that by 2.5 and is looking to increase that by an additional 2.5 kilos with this third attempt.
Fights through that one, stands up.
Let's see what the judges say.
2-1, unfortunately, a no lift. Reds from both side judges.
We'll see a replay on that one.
Looks like it may have been a little bit high.
And again, as a reminder, what the judges are looking for as far as depth is that hip crease of the lifter has to go below the top surface of the knee.
Ashley Wang taking a 10-kilo jump. She's jumped 10 kilos each time, now up to 152.5, loaded up for her third attempt squat. Competing as a 65-kilo lifter.
She last competed in May and hit a squat of 140 kilos. And as of today, in January of 2026, she's looking to hit 152.5 kilos. So that 12.5 kilo increase on her squat.
Good fight. Unfortunately, spotters have to take the bars. There was some downward motion.
But she still walks away with a 2.5 kilo PR. So still a good attempt and a good squat session for Ashley.
Absolutely.
And I think that's going to be a common theme with a lot of lifters in the prime time specifically, right? With wanting to push themselves kind of to the absolute limit. Again, this is a competition going against everybody here, right? So it's not just the people in your weight class, but you're scored against others in different weight classes via dots. So that's every kilo is going to matter in this competition.
Absolutely. It's important to get on the board with openers, but once you've got those openers solidified, it's good to push and, people start to make more aggressive jumps in hopes of climbing the ranks.
And a great attempt there by Sydney, 155 kilos. She gets 3 white lights. So that is a 2.5 kilo PR for Sydney. Sydney previously competed at Midwest Regionals and is now looking to compete at states, looking to qualify for nationals in June.
Coming up next, retaking 160, we have Kyra.
And I think that's a wise attempt too, right? Retaking that weight, make sure you get it on the board
Absolutely.
and continue building that total.
Absolutely. There's always room for more aggressive jumps later down the road. It's important on squats to take what you can get. Kyra gives a good effort. Unfortunately, does not come up with that one.
She is still on the board with her opener, so she can still continue on with the competition. So that, again, as it was reiterated, you want to get that opener on the board to make sure you can post a total throughout the competition.
Next up, we have Sarah taking 165.
This will match her competition best. Also, one of these lifters looking to qualify for nationals in June. That's going to be another big theme here, right? Everyone's trying to qualify for nationals. We saw that throughout the course of the first 2 sessions, and same can be said here for this primetime session.
Sarah buries that one and keeps fighting. She stands up with it. It is a
And
good lift,
2 to 1.
She'll walk away excited.
And we see a lot of support here in the live stream chat. So if you guys are watching from home, let us know who you guys are supporting, who you guys are watching from, and just overall, just interact with us. We'd love to shout out any lifters that you guys are supporting.
Here comes Bradly Throgmorton representing McKendree University. Up 7.5 kilos from her second attempt. 170 loaded on the bar. Jumps out of the hole, but unfortunately gets stuck around the halfway point. That will be a no lift. Nonetheless, a great effort there from Bradly. Up 10 kilos from her second attempt, Alice approaches the platform. We have 180 kilos loaded onto the bar.
Again, just shy of 400 pounds with 180, 396 pounds. She gets a replace command from our chief referee, Grace Thomas, and is told to lock her knees. Again, lifters has to be in a fully upright position with their knees locked in order to receive the squat command. So she was issued a replace command, instructed what to correct, and she walks it out with about 10 seconds left in the clock.
Gets the start command that time, unfortunately. After a tough fight, does not come up with it. However, a great effort there from Alice.
And you almost wonder, right, like if she was able to hit that squat had she not gotten that replace command, right? The amount of energy that you consume having to unrack, walk out, and then have to walk back in that same weight again. I mean, that takes a toll on your body, especially when you're dealing with max level loads.
Absolutely. Powerlifting so much more than just being strong. You know, it's a whole mental game too, being able to show up that day and perform and, you know, adjust to the situation as it presents itself.
That touches on a really good topic, right? In the fact that powerlifting is not about who is the strongest. It's about who's the better powerlifter, who can
Absolutely.
execute, who can lift in these circumstances when the lights are bright, when everyone's cheering you on, right? When can you execute? And we're going to see that here as we move along the primetime session. We have Izzy Rivera, 182.5 kilos, breaking over and past the 400-pound barrier.
Is he wrapping up the women's flights of squats?
Again, one of our younger lifters in this session and closing out the flight with a 400-pound squat.
Very impressive. Very controlled on the walkout. Comes up with it with a smile on her face.
Yeah, she knows she got that.
That is a good lift for Izzy.
And we're moving right along into the men's flight. Starting up, we have Daniel Marrero opening us up with 200 kilos, 441 pounds.
The current female forecast effort squats is on the left side of your screen. We can see that Izzy Rivera is still leading, followed by Ashley Huang and then Andrea Cerna in third place.
And again, these forecasted placings are expected to change as lifting continues on. This is just a projection. So don't buy into these a little too much. And again, we have so much lifting left to go.
Daniel taking 200 kg for his opener, 440 pounds. Very good depth, stands right back up with it.
Easy attempt there by Daniel.
He'll receive 3 white lights and a good lift.
Another one of our 67.5 kilo lifters, Sterling Walker, opening with 207.5 kilos.
Want to give a quick shout out to our spotters and loaders today for the hard work they've put in, keeping our athletes safe, keeping the flow of the meet going. Really can't do anything without these guys. So shout out to those
Yeah.
boys from McKendree.
Yeah, they really are those unsung heroes from the meet, right? Like this meet cannot progress at the rate it's been progressing without the help of the spotters and loaders. I mean, that is a thankless job in the sport of powerlifting.
Absolutely.
And for those of you watching at home that want to get involved in powerlifting, that's probably one of the easiest ways to actually get involved is learning to spot and load, right? Just
Yeah.
contributing and helping out your fellow meet directors.
Learn plenty about the sport that way. Sterling buries that one, stands right back up. Very nice squat. Good for 3 white lights.
Moving over to our 75 kilo lifter, James MacArthur, 215 kilo opener.
Just 15 kilos off his best squat.
Yeah, he last competed at regionals last year out in Appleton, Wisconsin.
James makes nice work of 215. Judges say 3 white lights and a good lift. Up next, representing RTS, we have Ryan. Ryan's best squat is 240. Let's see if he gets close to that today.
Yeah, at an opener of 227.5 kilos, just 12 and a half below that. I mean, you could probably expect him to have made significant progress over the course of his training.
Might hit a PB even on his second. We'll see how this one moves.
Good attempt there.
Moved very well. 3 white lights is a good lift.
One important thing to keep in mind with these lifters is there's many different competitions within themselves that they're going against. Not only are they trying to beat their competition best, but they're also in a primetime session. So they're competing against people across weight classes, not only in the weight class of their own, but some of these lifters are on that brink of the qualifying totals for nationals. Again, national season is starting to come up, and again, this is going to be one of those big themes as these lifters are looking to compete at nationals and be on the biggest stage USA Powerlifting has to offer domestically here in the U.S. So that's just another thing to layer on to the performance these people are putting on.
Very fast squat from Jose. Could have jumped with it on his back. 3 white lights. That is a good lift.
I have the pleasure of training with Jose at Lockout Fitness in Chicago, Illinois, and he tends to take some pretty hefty jumps. He usually goes 2 reds, 3 reds, and just jumps reds at a time. So expect to see some pretty crazy jumps from him. Ulysses is up next. 240 kilos.
Ulysses also in the 100 kilo class. Another very easy opener. Good for 3 white lights.
Ellie up next.
Representing Raid Strength.
Co-owner of Catalyst Strength out in Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah.
Opening up 255 kilos.
Nice squat there from Ellie.
Yeah, picked up very nice speed coming out of the hole. 2-1, good lift. Paulo Zavala, another lifter I have the pleasure of training with out of Lockout Fitness in Chicago. Again, very interesting that these men in this primetime session are all very similar in weight classes. We have a lot of 90 kilo and 100 kilo lifters lifting together. So it's going to be a pretty tight battle with these lifters just kind of going back to back and hitting these insane squats. £573 as an opening attempt.
Very easy squat attempt there.
And it gets 2-1, a no lift on depth from both side referees. Again, what depth is that they did not believe that his hip crease went below the top surface of the knee. So definitely not a strength issue. I mean, just a technical adjustment that needs to be made moving on to the second attempt. And I guess when you're in a stage like this, it really comes down to your coaching staff and your confidence level on whether or not you actually want to go up after missing an attempt like that, right? Because either you make that technical adjustment and stay at the same weight, or you kind of take a bit of a gamble and go up, knowing that you have more in the tank.
270 on the bar here for Mark. Makes very easy work of it. Receives 3 white lights and a good lift. Due up next, we have Parker Anderson. Parker representing McKendree University.
And also closing out the flight for the men's squat session. And also our first squat over 600 pounds.
Very confident pick from Parker. Stands right up with it.
Let's see what the referees say. 3 white lights. And I think that's one of the interesting, one of my favorite things about watching these streams is seeing the different cadences and lifters and the way they approach the bar. Right, some lifters approach it very aggressively. They have their own setup routine and they kind of yell and scream at the bar. And some lifters are very calm and very composed. Right, and it works well for them. I mean, lifters do find what works well for them, and I think that's one of the beauties of powerlifting is you find what works for you. And I think most coaches and most good coaches, right, will advocate for that in wanting lifters to find what works for them and kind of run with that.
Absolutely. Whether it be technique, mindset, superstition kind of stuff, coaches tend to support whatever helps the athlete perform the best. So these guys are doing whatever it takes.
And then that extends into lifting technique and the way lifters actually execute their lifts. Right? That's the reason as to why we don't have just one way of squatting. Here we have Daniel Moreira, 212.5 kilos.
A little bit of a grind there. He fights through it.
Yeah, but I know Dan, and that looked like an easy attempt. Dan swole 2-1, good lift.
It's another interesting thing. Some lifters, it's hard to tell whenever they're towards their top end because a lot of the lifts will look the same and it'll be in a, certain rate of perceived exertion range. They'll sort of move the weight slower, but they're not anywhere near their top end.
Yeah,
So,
100%. It's almost like it's fast until it's not, right?
yeah. Here we have Sterling taking 220 kilos, second attempt squat.
And just to put it to perspective, this is just under 500 pounds of a squat, and he is weighing in at just about 146 pounds body weight. This is about 3.4 times his body weight.
After a slow descent, he powers through.
Yeah, and again, one of those lifts where it's just smooth the entire way. No true sticking point for Sterling, but just smooth throughout the entire rep. Now we are taking over into the 500-pound range. James MacArthur, 232.5 kilos. This would best his previous competition squat of 230, which he hit at regionals just this past year. And now looking to break that on the second attempt.
Unfortunately, does not come up with that one.
I think he just went a little too deep on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting to see if they choose to scratch or if they're going to retake that one. I imagine they're going to retake it.
Yeah, I think that'd be the wise decision. And I think James just got a little too deep on that squat. Again, just lost tightness at the hole. But again, just one of those technical tweaks that you can make in just not sinking the bar as deep.
Very smooth second attempt there from Ryan, making easy work of 240 kilos. He receives 3 white lights and a good lift.
And up next, we got Ulysses, another lifter coming to us from the Chicagoland area, lifting out of Surge to New Level Strength out in Carroll Stream, Illinois. Again, another one of these lifters that is looking to qualify for nationals later in June.
Very nice second attempt there from Ulysses. Up 15 from his first, made easy work of 255. Receives 3 white lights and a good lift.
Up next, we got Ellie, 262.5 kilos. Again, took a 7.5 kilo jump from his opening attempt. Nice walkout for Ellie.
Nice fight there.
Strong attempt, 262.5 kilos. And again, continues getting that red light from the side referee on the left-hand side.
Paulo is up 20 kilos from his opener at 280, which also matches his best squat.
Yeah, Paulo retaking that attempt. Actually, no, he jumped 20 kilos. Yeah, he took 260 for that opener, missed it on depth. on the sides and still opted to go up 20 kilos. Again, that's one of those gambles that we talked about, right? These lifters are in prime time. There are stakes on the table, not just the qualifying total, not just placement, but there is money on the table here for this prime time session. So these lifters are looking to put up the highest possible dots coefficient for those prize points. And it starts here. It starts with executing and getting those lifts on the board. That squat did look deeper.
Unfortunately, still receives 2 reds from the sides.
And this is one of those tough positions to be in, right? Like you go up after missing your opening attempt, and you miss that second attempt as well. So you're really put in a pretty tight predicament, and almost being forced to retake that and needing to hit it to not just stay in the meet, but just get something in the board.
Absolutely, and there's a sense of, not necessarily worry, but there's definitely a point where you start to, like, man, I got to get this last one.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Very nice squat there from Mark. Looks like he got deep enough. Plenty of speed. 3 white lights and a good lift.
And I'll circle back to Paolo's situation there. I mean, that's just one of those situations where the mental side of powerlifting really kicks into play, right? You know the physical's there, right? You know you're strong enough to hit that lift, but it's really about not getting into your head in doubting yourself and having those thoughts of maybe I don't have this, right? That's where the coach really comes into play in hyping your lifter up and getting that mindset right.
Absolutely. Here we have Jose taking a 70-kilo jump from his first attempt.
Yeah, that seems about right. I mean, I've seen him take jumps bigger than that in training, but that seems about right. He previously hit 315 kilos in training, so that seems to be about the jump he would make for a second.
Nice. I'm excited to see what Jose has in store for us today. See some big squats.
He had a pretty tough recomp. He actually was cutting about 8 pounds over the course of the day. So he had quite a bit of time to get those that weight off. But I mean, let's see how that recomp fares him now.
Definitely can play a factor when it comes to aspects like fatigue.
Especially in a 2-hour weigh-in.
Oh, yeah. Seems a recomp is of no worries for Jose.
Yeah,
very nice.
Very well done attempt. 3 white lights.
Taking the weight up to 305 kilos, we have Parker Anderson from McKendree University. Previous best squat is 287.5 kilos.
So not only is this a 17.5 kilo PR?
12.5.
12.5 kilo PR?
Or no, yeah, you're right. 17.
Yeah, 17.
He's at 305.
Yeah, right, yeah, 17.5 kilo PR. But I mean, let's just put it to perspective. He is lifting in the 90 kilo weight class, weighing in under 90 kilos. This is over 3 times body weight squat. At this weight, super impressive.
He's fighting.
And he squats it up. Parker
comes up with it after a little bit of a grind. Judges say 2-1. Unfortunately, looks like he may have missed on depth there.
So you got 2 different calls there, as I'm seeing on the screen. He gets 1 red light for depth and 1 red light from the other side with a blue card, which most likely indicated downward motion. So the referee believed that bar descended or came back down as he was coming up with the squat. So that's one of the things you're not allowed to do. That bar can only move in one direction at a time. So 2 different calls there.
Taking it back up to the top, we have Daniel jumping 7.5 kilos from his second attempt, taking 220, weighing only 67.5. Very good effort there from Daniel. Unfortunately, gets stuck right around the halfway point. Here we have Sterling Walker approaching the platform, up 5 kilos from his second attempt.
496 pounds. I think that's a wise attempt for Sterling. Sterling is actually one of these lifters that is in contention for the top placement. He is currently seated with a forecasted 473 dot score, so that is very competitive for this class. And I mean, there's probably going to be a few lifters that are going to be scratching it or hitting past that 500 dots mark, and Sterling is likely to be one of those lifters.
Beautiful squat there from Sterling.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about: consistency, execution, hitting those lifts, and again, right, not completely emptying out the tank, right? You still have 6 more lifts left to go, and you often run into trouble when you see lifters that RP 10 and grind out that squat and almost empty out that tank and got nothing left for time deads roll around. Again, it is a long day. They still got a lot of lifting left to go.
Absolutely. Good attempt selection can really carry a day. Here we have James MacArthur taking 232.5.
If you recall, I believe he just went a little too deep on the second attempt squat, lost positioning and tightness, and is looking to recoup that, make that adjustment, and retake 232.5.
Unfortunately, that will be a no lift for James. Great effort, though. Taking the weight up to 267.5, we have Ulysses. Very nice third attempt there.
So not quite an all-time best for Ulysses, but still moved with ease, gets 3 white lights. And I think that's another common theme we're going to see with lifters, not necessarily beating their all-time best, but trying to put up the highest possible total. Because again, for for nationals qualifying totals, it's all about the total. It's all about consistency, executing lifts, and building the highest possible total, not necessarily worrying about what PRs you hit on the given day. I think a lot of these lifters are approaching this competition with the mindset of I will save it for nationals for when it counts. But talking about lifts that count, Paulo Savala, 280 kilos. This is an all for nothing lift. He needs to hit this lift in order to stay in the meet and continue to score in this primetime session. Again, this is a do or die, if you want to call it that.
Absolutely. He's going to make extra sure he buries this one.
It almost seemed like he got deeper on the second attempt, but still wasn't able to convince those 2 side judges.
Stands up with it once more.
And the referees say
2
2 to 1. Talk about close calls. I mean, 1 red light within that, and that would have been a game over for Paulo, but he walks away 280 kilos, 617 pounds. And that looked easy. It looked like he had a bit more left in the tank, so you almost wonder what he would have been capable of hitting had he not had that depth mishap. I mean, you just wonder.
I agree. It goes back to what you were saying, about addressing the day as it comes. Things change throughout the meet. It's just who executes when. He'll come back on bench, come up with a game plan, see what he can do. Here comes Mark, 297.5 kilos on the bar. Very easy third attempt squat. Wow, plenty of room left in the tank there.
I think Mark might have misread it and thought that openers were meant to be hit here on the platform. I mean, he's warming up here.
Yeah.
Parker Anderson was successful in squatting 305 for his second attempt, but got a call for depth on one side and an up and down call for on the other side. So let's see if he can make those adjustments and secure 305 for his third and final attempt.
Parker comes up with that one.
Let's see
After a
what the
nice
referees
fight.
say.
Unfortunately, that is a no lift.
Yeah, that is a unanimous 3 red lights call for depth. And
After
now
squats, you can take a look at our men's top 10. First place, we have Mark Perone. Second, Sterling Walker with 473 dot score. Diego Roberts, 472.75.
and we still got one more squat left to go. Jose Armando Diaz out of Chicago, training out of Lockout Fitness, 312.5 kilos. This is just shy of 700 pounds.
We'll show the men's and women's rankings once more after Jose completes this squat. Give you an idea of where everybody's stacking up for the competition.
Here we see Jose coming out, third and final attempt.
Looks like he's wanting them to retighten the clips, make sure the weight's on there securely, so there's not any wobbling as he walks out.
So we'll see what our chief referee ends up doing with this attempt. He did time out before he actually received a valid squat command, but we'll see if our chief referee, Grace Thomas, will grant Jose a relift due to those collars untightening. Again, we're just waiting on that notification from our chief referee as she communicates with our scoring table. We will let you know shortly on what they decide to do. All right, so we just got word that he will not be retaking or taking 312.5 kilos. So that concludes the squat session for the Primetime Illinois State Championship here in Bloomington, Illinois. As we look over in the top 10 placings, we currently have Mark leading in the pack with a 483 forecasted dots, Sterling Walker 473, and just about 1 point behind him we have Diego Roberts with 472. That is our podium. And again, we still have plenty of lifting left to go. And over on our women's side, we have Izzy Rivera with a 449 dots points, followed by Ashley Huang, 444, and Andrea Serna, 436. Again, these forecasted placings are likely going to change as lifting continues on. This is only squats. We are going to take a 10-minute intermission as our spotters and loaders you see on screen are setting up the platform for the bench press session. And we'll see you all in 10 minutes. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the primetime session of the USAPL 2026 Illinois State Championship. We are getting started with the bench press portion of the competition. We had just finished the squats. We took a 10-minute intermission, and we're now getting started with the bench. We have two flights in the primetime session. We have a flight A, which is our women lifters, and then flight B will consist of our men. First up, we have Andrea Serna taking 60 kilos for her opening bench press attempt.
Good press there from Andrea. She'll receive 3 white lights and a good lift.
Up next, we got Sydney Tenno taking a 67.5 kilo opening attempt for her bench press. She had a really good squat session, going 3 for 3, ending with 155. Now taking a 67.5 kilo opening attempt. And again, as we are going to continue reiterating throughout the entire competition, a lot of lifters are looking to qualify for nationals in June, which will be held here in our home state in Carroll Stream, Illinois. Lombard, Illinois, I apologize. And Sydney is actually one of those lifters looking to qualify today. She smoked 67.5 kilos, 3 white lights. We have our spotters and loaders getting the platform set up for our next lifter. Our next lifter will be Cheryl Stewart, also taking 67.5 kilos.
Here comes Cheryl for her opening bench press attempt. Communicating with the spotter, the handoff she would like to receive. Very clean press there from Cheryl. She'll receive 3 white lights and a good lift.
And for our new viewers to powerlifting who are taking a look at the referee on the right-hand side of the screen giving the hand motions, there are 3 commands in the bench press. There is a start command, the press command, and the rack command. So lifters have to listen and obey the chief referee for the hand and audible signals in order for for the attempt to be a good lift. And again, the referees are not counting a specific amount of seconds or a set amount of time for that bar to be on the chest. The indicator and the requirement is for that bar to become motionless on the chest. We see here with Elise Lee, gets that press command and racks it, and she will get 3 white lights. She held that bar motionless on the chest, waited for the command, pressed that bar back out to full arm extension, got that rack command, and got that good lift.
To the platform next, we have Sarah Schermacher representing Strong Babes. Best bench press is 75 kilos. She has 72.5 loaded up for her opening attempt. Very likely that she'll break her PB today. You'll see a lot of lifters, especially lighter weight lifters, using their mobility to sort of shorten the range of motion between their bar and the chest by creating a higher arch, raising their ribs to the ceiling. This helps a lot of people press more weight. Sarah receives 3 white lights and a good lift on that bench press attempt.
Absolutely. It's all about lifting within the confines of the rules. A lot of the lifters implement their own techniques, right, with their own grip widths, feet placements, the position on the bar and their back, just everything, right? And ultimately, it comes down to personal preference and what is most efficient for the lifter to move, mechanically speaking, and just kind of based on how their body is built. Everyone has different limb lengths, different torso lengths. I mean, everyone's built differently, so everyone's gonna lift slightly different as far as appearance to one another. And I think that's what a good coach will bring out of you, right? Really finding out what is the most optimal position for that lifter and executing the lift.
Absolutely. Most sports are different from powerlifting in the sense that you can sort of teach the same technique or, methods to everybody, whereas in powerlifting, there is sort of some staples that most people, practice, but for the most part, it's up to how their body works and how they move and, their proportions. So, yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. Next up, we have Kyra coming to bench. Her best bench is 77.5 kilos. For her opener, she's going to take 75. Clean press there from Kyra. She'll receive 3 white lights for that one. That's a good lift. McKendry bringing another athlete to the platform next. We have Maram Maklouf. Her personal best bench is 85 kilos. Today, she's going to be opening up with 77.5. Very speedy press there from Maram. Good for 3 white lights.
Up next, we got another lifter out of McKendree University, Izzy Rivera, going up to 92.5 kilos, pushing us over the 200-pound mark. Her best bench, 102.5, 226 pounds. She is opening up with 203 pounds. And I think it's very, very nice to note that our last 3 lifters to close out the flight are all in our collegiate class. We have Maram and Izzy from McKendree, and up next we will have Ashley Huang from UIC.
A lot of young talent we're going to see here today, both in the men's and women's division. Excited to see what the competition looks like. Another speedy bench press. Izzy makes easy work of 92.5 for 3 white lights and a good lift.
And as we mentioned earlier, Ashley Huang, UIC Powerlifting taking our last and final opening bench press attempt, 102.5 kilos. And for those of you watching at home, this is about the equivalent of 2 commercial gym plates, 226 pounds for a opening bench press attempt.
Most people go to the gym their whole lives just to hit this number.
And she's benching that as an opener. That's impressive.
Very impressive.
I mean, regardless of what division you're competing in. I mean, for somebody in the women's division benching 226 pounds, that's something you rarely see.
Absolutely.
Wow, and just explodes off her chest. Ashley gets 3 white lights, and wow, I mean, I'm just almost speechless with that attempt.
Makes very easy work of 102.5. Excited to see what she's going to do on her second and third attempts. Back up to the top, starting off second attempts for our first flight of Primetime, we have Andrea taking 62.5, up 2.5 from her last attempt. This is just 2.5 under her PB bench.
A lifter again who is very familiar to the primetime stage, has won 2-time state championship both in 2024 and in 2025. It is looking to reclaim that 3-peat title here in Bloomington, Illinois.
Unfortunately, not enough there for this second attempt. Andrea, we'll see if she comes back and attempts that again. Next up, we have Cheryl Stewart, up 2.5 kilos from her previous attempt, taking 70 kilos.
And I think that's one of the pros and cons, especially with a very technically sound attempt like Andrea there. It's like there really is no room for error when your bench press is very reliant on a very proficient and efficient technique, right? So Andrea's gonna have to make those adjustments to nail it on that third attempt.
Absolutely. Cheryl makes easy work of what I believe is a PB bench for 3 white lights. Throwing another 2.5 kilos on the bar, taking it up to 72.5. We have Sydney Tennell.
This is just 2.5 kilos below her all-time best. She hit at regionals out in Appleton, Wisconsin, earlier in September of last year.
Very nice press there from Sydney.
Yeah, expect her to probably hit a PR today. 3 white lights.
Here comes Alice, representing Strong Babes. Her second attempt bench press, taking 75 kilos, 2.5 below her best. Getting hyped behind the platform, ready to go.
Placed first at last year's state championship that was hosted in Chicago at Catalyst Strength, and is looking to take that 2-time title here today.
Beautiful bench press attempt there from Alice. Plenty of room left in the tank. Excited to see what she jumps to for her third. She receives 3 white lights and a good lift. Next up, we've got Sarah coming to the platform. For her second attempt bench, Sarah's taking 77.5 kilos, up 5 from her opener.
And up 2 from her all-time best of 75. So we're seeing a lot of pretty close or surpassing all-time best and PR attempts for these ladies on just the second attempts.
Just goes to show the dedication and work these athletes have put in since last year, even since their last meet. You know, they're constantly improving and getting better. Sarah makes very easy work of 77.5.
Yeah, you see the standard that is being raised with these lifters on not just on being able to hit these heavy weights, but just the consistency and execution with these heavy weights. That's one thing you very rarely seek, where every lifter is being very consistent and listening to their commands, following their technique through and hitting those lifts. That's really what it's going to be all about. This session is just execution and building those totals, because that's really what's going to determine on who wins this session.
Kyra setting up under 80 kilos, 2.5 above her PB. And we see another easy PR. Kyra walks away with 3 white lights and a good second attempt bench press on 80 kilograms.
Yeah, very easy to say that these athletes have been progressing and putting in that work during this offseason and peaking phase for this competition.
Next up is McKendry's Maram McCloof, taking 82.5 kilos second attempt bench press. Fairly easy press there from Maram. Unfortunately, receives a red from the center judge, but still gets 2 white lights. That will be a good lift. Looks like she may have rushed the press command just slightly.
Yeah, so as our chief referee is giving the lifter those commands, I mean, sometimes lifters will either try to anticipate that call or just try to kind of time that referee. So very, very kind of sneaky call there for some of these referees to call that.
And playing the guessing game can be fairly difficult sometimes with getting calls, because you can miss, guess wrong one way, guess wrong the other way, you'll get a red from the judge. However, some athletes choose to sink the bar just a little bit longer, pause it just a little bit longer to really secure that call. Bradly with a very easy second attempt bench press, three
And
white lights.
yeah, and a very fast press command there. I mean, one of the things that we're looking for in the bench press is for that bar to be motionless on the chest. So it really doesn't matter how long that bar is on the chest, because if it's not motionless, you're not getting that press command. A lot of times lifters argue with the referees and thinking that they're out to get them, but no, in reality, they're just waiting for that bar to become motionless on the chest. So practicing either those soft touches or just waiting for that bar to come to a complete stop and staying tight throughout all positions of the bench press is really going to play out in your favor.
Izzy Rivera, another McKendree Bearcat with 97.5 kilos. Finding her hand placement. Another very controlled press. Fairly easy. She'll receive 3 white lights and a good lift. Brings us to our final bench of second attempts for these ladies. Ashley coming up to the platform, 110 kilos, up 7.5.
This is
in the previous attempt.
242 pounds, ladies and gentlemen.
7.5 kilos over her best bench press.
That's insane.
She hits this, she'll walk away with a massive PR.
That's insane.
Still room for the third attempt, too. Again, Ashley competes in the 65 and under weight class, benching 110 kilos. Very impressive.
Wow. Very fast attempt there for Ashley, and she gets 3 white lights. Go ahead.
She'll be looking to snag 2 PRs on the same lift in the same day. Very impressive.
And it's all about building momentum here. We're now on to our third and final attempts, and our lifters are really trying to build what they have built for the past 6 attempts. They finished their squats, and whether or not they went 3 for 3, 2 for 3, they are here in their final bench press attempt. Andrea Serna retaking 62.5 kilos. Let's see if she can make that technical adjustment so she can get this weight up. And she's able to do so. Andrea Serna locks out 62.5 kilos. Let's see what the referees say. 3 white lights.
Great grind there from Andrea.
Yeah, talk about a recovery there. I mean, it almost looked like that attempt wasn't going up. Let's look at this replay here. You kind of see how that bar locks out very lopsided, like almost one elbow locks out before the other. And again, those reps don't need to look pretty, but she got that weight up. It gets those 3 white lights, and that's all that matters.
Now we've got Cheryl taking 72.5 kilos for her final bench press attempt of the night. Good fight. Fights through the sticking point. Looks like she got that one. Judges say that is a good lift. 3 white lights. Good press from Cheryl.
Sydney up next with an opportunity to go 6 for 6 in as she concludes her bench press attempt, looking to go and take 75 kilos, which would match her all-time best she hit previously at regionals.
Very smooth third attempt there from Sydney.
Yeah, and a very wise call there by the coaching staff, really building that consistency and building that momentum as she looks to qualify for nationals and she has three more lifts left to go as she moves on to the deadlifts going 6 for 6. Another lifter here who's executing very perfectly, Sarah Schermacher, 80 kilos for her third and final bench press. Coming into the meet, her best bench was 75 kilos. She broke that on her second attempt and is looking to push that another 2.5 kilos during this third.
Unfortunately, not able to press through that one. That will be a no lift.
But she still walks away with a 2.5 kilo all-time best.
I think something that's really interesting that I've been observing today is just how technically sound these lifters are, especially in the prime time session. You can really see the development of skill as a lifter progresses throughout their career, starting as a teen lifter or maybe a younger lifter as they get older, even some of our collegiate lifters at this point, just with the experience and how they're able to, develop such sound technique and form.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is the accumulation of knowledge from working with different coaches that is able to bring out the technique in the lifters, but also the lifters learning more about themselves. And Elise Lee executes very well with 80 kilos. Almost looked like an opener. She gets 3 white lights.
Very nice bench press attempt. She's excited with that one, as I would be.
Yeah, well done, Elise.
Here is Kyra taking 85 kilos for her final attempt. Jump 5 from each attempt on the bench press. First 75 now, then 80, now 85. Looking to go 3 for 3 in the event. Unfortunately gets stuck a few inches off of her chest. Great effort though from Kyra. To the platform next, we have Maram taking a 5 kilo jump from her second. 87.5 loaded up for her third attempt bench press. A good fight there. Very clean third attempt bench press for Maram. She'll get 3 white lights for that one. That is a good lift.
Bradly coming up next, 87.5 kilos for a third and final bench press attempt. 5 kilos above her all-time best. You'll see Bradly really taking her time during that setup, exhausting the entire 60 seconds in her clock. Again, that is a very wise move, and as she gets her position down, gets that lift off, and gets that start command. Let's see what the referees say on that one.
Great fight. Unfortunately, there'll be a no lift. Looked like there was some up and down movement on the press.
And though she got that lift up, unfortunately, that absolutely right. That bar is not allowed to come back down. Once you initiate that descent, once you get that press command, the only direction that bar can travel is up. So as you see there, that bar sort of dipped back down as she was locking it out. So unfortunately, that will be a no lift. But I mean, I guess you can probably call it a gym PR, right?
I'd say so,
yeah,
for sure. I would count that.
Definitely still proud of that one. I mean, you did get it up and you didn't fail it on strength.
Izzy Rivera jumping 5 kilos for her third attempt, up to 102.5.
And again, that infamous number 102.5, 226 pounds, the equivalent of about 2 commercial gym plates.
Good fight from Izzy. Pushes through the top half of the press.
Yeah, very consistent press. No true sticking point there, just pure strength getting that bar up.
She'll walk away 3 for 3 on the bench press event. Very nice bench.
And if you thought the party was over, Ashley has one more lift for you guys. 115 kilos, 253 pounds. And as a lifter weighing in the 65 kilo class, actually weighing in at 62 kilos, this is just shy of a 2 times body weight bench press. It's insane.
I wish I could do that.
And if you weren't already impressed, Ashley Huang, a college lifter out of UIC, just adding that to the resume, only 20 years of age.
Ashley with just about 5 seconds left on that clock, getting those handoff from her spotter. Unfortunately, does not receive the start command in time.
Yeah, so our chief referee called rack and time. So our lifters have 60 seconds from the moment the bar is called loaded to receive that start command. So Ashley was unable to receive that start command due to running out of time, so she will not be credited with that lift. And as we see here on the top left side of your screen, we see our updated women's top 10 forecasted placings. Our top 4 leadership positions did not change, with Izzy Rivera leading the pack with 459 dot points, Ashley Huang 452, and Andrea Serna with a 439. But we do see a slight change here in our 5th to 6th, with Elise Lee surpassing Bradly with a 411.55 to 411.02. So very tight race there as we round out the top 5 podium placings.
Sterling Walker approaching the platform to 125 kilos, 275 pounds on the bar. Very controlled on the descent, a smooth press. Looks like a good opener to me.
Just shy of a 2 times body weight bench press.
That is a good lift. Yeah, just shy of a 2 times body weight bench press for an opening attempt. Just goes to show the level of athletes we have here today and what they're capable of. Next up, we have Daniel Marrero. Daniel's best bench is 142.5. Today, he's going to go ahead and open up 10 kilos below that. It's likely we'll see a PR at Daniel today.
Let's go and see that Dan Swole opener. If you know, you know.
Very smooth bench press there from Daniel. 3 white lights and a good lift. He's on the board for bench press. Solid opener. To the platform next, we have James MacArthur Jr.
Looking to pick up some momentum here after a not so good of a squat attempt here, but with a good bench press, pretty strong bench press, 155 kilos for a 75 kilo lifter, opening up with 140. This is already 308 pounds for a lifter weighing in under 165 pounds. Solid attempt there by James, and referees say 3 white lights. Good lift.
Next up, we have Ulysses representing DMS. Ulysses' best bench is 162.5 kilos. Today's primetime session, he's going to be opening up with 142.5.
Ulysses, another one of those lifters on the hunt for the Nationals qualifying total. We see his coach in the back, Mitch Della Merced, coming out of Surge to New Level Strength out in Carroll Stream, Illinois.
Very nice press there.
Gets a 2-to-1 no lift, a blue card from our center referee. And most likely that will indicate that the referee did not believe that Ulysses' elbows were fully locked out at either the start or the end of the lift.
Ryan Andrilla taking 142.5 kilos, same weight for his opening bench press attempt. Very clean press there from Ryan. A lot of speed on the bar, 3 white lights and a good lift.
Paulo Zavala up next, 150 kilos, 331 pounds as his opening bench press attempt. And if you saw on screen, his best bench is actually 150 kilos. So he's opening up with his PR. So just kind of going to show how much progress he's made over the course of his last time competing. Yeah, and given how easy that looked, expect to see a nice bench press by Paulo. 3 white lights, good lift.
To the platform next, we have Jose. Jose representing the Iron Furries.
That's our team out of Lockout Fitness in Chicago, Illinois.
Jose taking 155 for his opener. Very speedy bench
Wow,
press.
yeah, very easy attempt. And if you remember on the jumps he made in his squat, he went from 230 to 300. So just kind of going to show the type of jumps you're expecting to see out of Jose. Got Mark coming up next, 165 kilos for his opening bench press attempt. 364 pounds. Just a little over 1.5 times his body weight for an opening bench press.
Another speedy press. Mark makes easy work of 165 to claim 3 white lights for a good lift. Out of McKendree University, we have Parker Anderson coming to the bench, opening with 180 kg. Nice attempt there from Parker. 3 white lights and a good lift.
Ellie coming up next for our final bench press of this opening round. For our men's, we have 182.5 kilo, 402 pounds. Co-owner of Catalyst Strength in Chicago, Illinois. It's nice to see a lot of different gyms coming together and competing at states. Gotta love to have that camaraderie community and just everyone supporting one another here in powerlifting, which is very common something you'll really see at almost every meet you go to.
Absolutely. I played a lot of sports in my lifetime. I recently started powerlifting in college. Met a lot of lifelong friends that'll stay with me for the rest of my life. You know, a lot of good people. Ellie with a very easy bench
Yeah,
press.
very easy press. I mean, no struggle there. 3 white lights. We're now back to the top of the order. Sterling Walker, a 5 kilo jump, 130 kilos. And again, right, if we're looking at these forecasted placings, you can go to liftingcast.com/meets and then go ahead and scroll to 2026 Illinois State Championship. And you'll be able to see kind of where we're seeing. But Sterling Walker is currently forecasted with a 477 dot points. And one of those lifters that's in contention for that top podium spot. So Sterling is really in it for hitting these lifts, staying consistent, and building that total. He is lifting before anybody else in those higher weight classes. So he is really looking to put up the highest possible dot score and then kind of fend off anybody else looking to take that from him.
Unfortunately, gets about 2 or 3 inches off his chest, gets stuck right around that halfway point. We'll see if he comes back and hits that on his third.
He will have one more go at it as we move into the third round. But right now we have Dan Swoll, 140 kilos. Previous best 142.5, taking a 7.5 kilo jump to 140. He's just 2.5 kilos shy, 308 pounds.
Daniel with a nice second. A little bit of a grind, but he definitely has some more room left in the tank there. He'll claim 3 white lights for a good lift.
Riding up next, another 7.5 kilo jump, 150 kilos, 330 pounds. Also 2.5 kilos below his all-time best bench.
Nice press there from Ryan.
Bit of a sticking point towards the middle of the chest, but it seems to be no issue as he gets 3 white lights.
Here we have James MacArthur Jr. approaching the platform. Second attempt bench press. And 150 kilos, a 10 kilo jump from his previous attempt. 330 pounds loaded onto the bar. James with a very smooth press for his second attempt. 3 white lights, it's a good lift.
And a good recovery there from James being able to kind of build up that momentum and execute here very well in the bench press event. Ulysses coming up next, 152.5 kilos, 10 kilos below his all-time best. We'll see how he fares with this, as he did take a 10 kilo jump from his opening attempt of 142.5. And continuing on the white light streak for Ulysses, he gets 2-1. Good lift.
Here comes Paolo for his second attempt bench. 155 kilos, up 5 from the first attempt. A little bit of a sticking point towards the lockout, but he fights through it. We'll see what judges have to say. 3 white lights.
And if you also, ladies and gentlemen, take a bit to notice the size of jumps these lifters make in comparison to the squat and soon deadlift events. Bench press, you're likely going to take shorter jumps, smaller jumps, mainly due to the movers in the bench press being your chest, shoulders, and triceps being smaller muscles. So those smaller muscles are not only are they less capable of producing force and power compared to your legs, quads, and back, so you're likely going to see lifters taking smaller jumps. Here we see Mark taking a 7.5 kilo jump versus lifters typically taking 10, 15, sometimes even beyond, right? 20 kilo jumps in the squat and maybe even bigger once we get over to the deadlift events. And that's just one thing and a common game you'll have to play with your coach and handler when it comes to wise attempt selection. I think that's a good segue talking about jumps here with Jose taking a 20 kilo jump, almost contradicting myself, but we really don't see people taking 20 kilo jumps in the bench press event. But Jose, a lifter I train with at Lockout in Chicago, I mean, he does this all the time. He's used to this, so let's see how he fares with 175.
Jose looking to match his personal best here. Very easy work there from Jose.
Yeah, not a problem for him. 3 white lights.
Here comes McKendry's Parker Anderson. His best bench is 195, jumping to 190 for a second, just 5 kilos off that PR. Another smooth press there from Parker. Good for 3 white lights.
And for our last lifter in the flight, closing out the second round of bench press, another 10 kilo jump, 192.5 kilos. Get a self unracked by Ellie, 425 pounds.
Nice attempt there from Ali.
Yeah, I mean, pretty consistently throughout the whole attempt. 2 to 1, good lift.
Definitely some room left in the tank.
Yeah,
for the
very
third
curious
attempt.
where he goes from there.
After Ellie, we're back up to the top with Sterling kicking off third attempt bench press. These are our final bench presses of the day. If you've been following us all day, you know it's been a long day. This will be our third session. Had 3 flights in the first 2 sessions, 2 flights in this one. So, getting the bench press event wrapped up for the day. Start to see some people get real competitive here. Get into deadlifts. Things will get interesting.
And fairly consistent and nice execution. We've only had 1 miss here in Sterling Walker for our second attempt, so he's looking to retake that for his third. See if he can make that technical adjustment and secure 130 kilos.
Unfortunately, does not come up with that one. However, great effort nonetheless. See what he brings out for deadlifts.
And that puts Sterling in a bit of a tough situation as he previously was leading the pack in the forecasted placings as far as dots go. But as of missing that attempt, and with Parker Anderson being consistent in all his attempts and the forecasted placings, he's now above and ahead Sterling Walker. So we're very interested in seeing how those placings are shaping up, with Mark currently leading the entire pack with a 491 forecasted dots placement. Let's go Dan Sewell. There you go. He locks it out. Let's see if he can get that tricep, but let's see what the referees say. I'm not sure if they caught any downward motion of the bar, and they did. Yeah, all three referees, blue lights, blue cards. Red lights, blue cards, downward motion. Ryan up next, 152.5 kilos, taking a minimum jump of 2.5 kilos, the minimum increment you can take in powerlifting.
Ryan looking to walk away 3 for 3 from this bench press event.
And I think in a situation with a competition of this caliber, that's probably a wise decision in being able to just take 2.5 kilos, secure and add just a little bit more to the total, and make yourself just a little bit more competitive. One thing I really like to say and emphasize for lifters is 2.5 kilos more that you bench is going to be 2.5 kilos less than you have to deadlift, especially when it comes to jockeying for position. Those 2.5 can really come into play if you're able to pick up as much as you can in the bench press event.
Absolutely. We've got a lot of skill here on both the men's and the women's side today, so we'll see a lot of the dot scores coming down to, pretty close margins. So any extra kilos you can get on your total will definitely benefit you. Get them where you can. Got about 10 seconds left on the clock for Ryan. Appears he may time out on this one.
Yeah, I think that's what he might be doing. So he's timing out, giving lifters those extra 60 seconds to rest and recover. Really good sportsmanship gesture there by our good friend Ryan.
And that could be a strategic play too. In some instances, you'll see coaches place an attempt and have their athlete not take it so they can draw out, maybe a higher attempt from another athlete, whereas they may go out and miss that attempt. And, since they didn't take that attempt, they would be ahead at that point.
Yeah, and then it also plays into the athlete's favor as a conservation of energy, not going out for that third time. You kind of squeeze as much as you got out of the lifter from 2 attempts, so that's all you need to take. Ulysses up next, 157.5 kilos, 5 kilo jump.
Ulysses fighting, stuck around the halfway point. Unfortunately, does not come up with it. Great effort, though. Leaving it all out there.
Paulo Savala up next, also taking that minimum increment, 2.5 kilo jump, 157.5 kilos loaded on the bar now for Paulo.
Unfortunately, does not press through that one. Stuck around the halfway point again. There'll be 3 red lights.
Yeah, and hopefully we can get somebody in this session to kind of break this bit of a curse we got going on with all these men missing their third bench presses. Don't want to jinx anybody, but I mean, statistically, that third bench press is the most frequently missed lift from both men and women. So this is the hardest attempt lifters have to really fight for. I mean, it's something where, I mean, a 7.5 kilo increase, even 2.5 kilo increase can make a difference in whether or not you make that lift or not.
James MacArthur Jr. taking 157.5 for his third attempt. Fights through that one. Looks like he's going to lock it out.
And he breaks that missed lift curse. 3 white lights for James, and able to recover and have a 3 for 3 bench session, and finally building up that momentum that he's been looking for. Mark up next, 177.5 kilos on the bar, 5 kilo jump from his second attempt.
coming in just below 400 pounds on this bench press. And Mark blows that one up. Great third attempt bench press there.
Yeah, I know. I almost want to go up to Mark and tell him that you gotta struggle a little bit here on the platform. I mean, you're just moving everything with ease.
Here we have Jose coming out to 185 kilos for his third attempt bench press. Jose looking to build a very respectable subtotal with a 300 kg squat, attempting 185 for his third attempt bench. Unfortunately, stuck off the chest a little bit. Does not get that one. Taking the weight up to 197.5. Now we have Ellie. Ellie with a 5 kilo jump from his second attempt.
Huge bench press here for Ali. 197.5 kilos, 435 pounds. Yeah, just a little bit too much for Ellie there, but still walks away with 192.5. He'll be able to come back on deadlift and secure his goal total.
Up next, we have Parker Anderson, 197.5 kilos loaded up onto the bar for his third attempt bench press. Very impressive stuff here from Parker.
Yeah, looking to cover some ground after going 1 for 3 on squats, but taking a 10-kilo jump on first to second, and now a 7.5 from second to third.
Gets stuck right around halfway, does not come up with it, unfortunately. However, it's a great effort from Parker.
Yeah, and again, 420 pounds for a second attempt bench press. I mean, for any attempt, that's pretty serious weight. Up here on the top left side of your screen now, we are now done with the bench press. So we have a better picture and understanding of what our forecasted placings are looking like. We see Mark still leading that pack with a 491 dot point, followed by Sterling Walker, who fell a little short after going 1 for 3 on bench press, falling to 473. And we got a pretty tight battle here from third to fourth, with Sterling Walker leading that pack, and then Diego Roberts with 472, and Parker Anderson also with 472. And then rounding out that top 5, we have Ellie, who moved into 5th place, bumping down Roderick. And ladies and gentlemen, that'll go into the women's top 10. Again, we will recap. Izzy Rivera leads that pack with 459, 469. Ashley 462, and Andrea Serna with 439. We will take a 10-minute intermission, and we'll see you all in for the deadlifts. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2026 Illinois State Championship Primetime. This is the third session, and we are getting kickstarted with the women's deadlift openers. We saw Cheryl Stewart hit 130 kilos. She got 3 white lights on that lift.
Very easy opening attempt there from Cheryl. To the platform next, representing the McHenry Bearcats, we have Maram McCloof. She is opening with 140 kilos. Maram looking to solidify a total today. With a solid opener, it seems she'll do just that.
That is a good lift, 3 white lights. And as we talk over these deadlifts over the course of the entire day, we have had lifters from all over the state competing here. We had our open and junior lifters competing in the morning, our teen lifters competing in the second session, and we have our primetime lifters who received an invitation to compete in this session, which took the top 10 men and women who scored the highest dots points of the 2025 season. They got invited over to 2026, so they are competing on this platform, and we are showcasing them here on the last and final session. Andrea Serna, 150 kilos. And just take a look at her weight class. She weighs 48 kilos and just deadlifted 150 kilos. That is above 3 times her body weight. That's insane.
Very impressive deadlift.
Yeah.
To the platform next, we have Sarah. Sarah out of Strong Babes, deadlifting 155 for her opener. See the first few lifters we've had in this flight elect to do a sumo stance with their legs spread apart. A little bit different stance, usually for people with longer arms and more mobile hips, whereas you also see a conventional type stance where the feet are about shoulder width apart or a little bit more narrow. Sarah makes easy work of her opener. Judges say that is
Good lift, 3 white
good
lights.
lift.
Elise Lee coming up next. She will be opening with also 155 kilos, 341 pounds. Elise, one of those veterans in the sport. For those of you that know and have kept up with nationals in those pre-COVID days, just a little bit of history. In 2019, USAPL Raw Nationals was hosted in Lombard, Illinois. Then Nationals came back again in 2022 in Lombard in that same venue where they hosted collegiate, teen, junior, and high school nationals. And it is coming back for a third time in our home state of Illinois for that third and final season. We have Raw Nationals in June later in Lombard this year. So a lot of our lifters who have been competing for many years have competing in these venues and in this state for nationals more than once now, and Elise was one of those lifters. But here, Bradly, 167.5 kilos, easy, 57.5 kilos, easy work, 3 white lights.
To the platform next, we have Ashley Wang taking 165 kilos. Her personal best deadlift is 170. Ashley making speedy work of 165. Very snappy lockout. 3 white lights. That'll be a good lift.
As these lifters continue to get attempts in the board, if you want to follow along in the action, be sure to go to liftingcast.com/meets and scroll to USAPL 2026 Illinois State Championship. There you can see all the attempts, the forecasted placings, and the rankings. Sydney Tunnel up next, 165 kilos, opening deadlift.
Another snappy deadlift. That'll be 3 white lights and a good lift for Sydney's opener. Kyra to the platform next, Personal best deadlift of 190 kilos. She's going to be opening up today at 177.5. Kyra with a smooth deadlift. Judges say 2-1. That is a good lift. Looks like the red was from the right side, ref.
And that red was for lockout. So 2 indicators for the lockout on the deadlift. Once the bar is fully locked down, that lifter stood up. Referees are making sure that those folders are fully back and those knees are locked. So a red light can mean any one of those 2 things when a referee signals a lockout infraction.
Izzy out of McHenry University, sort of a deadlift specialist, opening up at 180 kilos. Very easy opener. Looks like we'll definitely see a big pull out of her today.
Yeah, and you can call her a deadlift specialist, but I remember her closing out that flight on squats. So kind of a jack of all trades, being able
Sort of a
to
total specialist.
right,
at
yeah,
that
yeah,
point.
total specialist, right? And not too shy on that squat on the bench either. She benched 102.5 kilos, so pretty well-rounded powerlifter. That's what wins meets right there. It's
Absolutely.
being able to kind of build a well-rounded total, and I mean, if you just look at her resume, you can kind of see as to why she is where she's at.
Oh, yeah. Cheryl making a 10-kilo jump from her first attempt. 140 kilos on the bar. Flies off the floor, but there appears to be a little bit of an issue at lockout. Looks like there may have been some up and down movement, and that will be 2-1, a no lift.
Again, lifters have to demonstrate full control at that top of the lift. So she had a bit of a bobble. Those shoulders came forward and that bar dipped back down. So unfortunately, that will be a no lift. But she does have one more attempt at that weight.
Here we have Maram representing McHenry University. Maram taking a 7.5-kilo jump from her first attempt.
Very tough sticking point at the lockout, but she gets that lift, 3 white lights, and this is just 2.5 kilos shy of her all-time best. So we'll see where she goes from there. Again, very interesting the way her sticking point is at that very lockout, right? Just kind of getting it past those thighs and extending those hips. Nonetheless, that was a good lift. Andrea Serna up next.
I believe Andrea requested that the bar be cleaned. All lifters are able to request that if they'd like, as throughout the meet, there's plenty of chalk and baby powder that gets on the bar as a result of, lifters doing their thing. So we have Andrea coming up to 162.5. Fortunately, looks like she lost it just before lockout. Maybe an issue with grip.
Yeah,
Well,
she kind of took a quick glance at her hand and just wondering whether or not she might have got some baby powder on it, just kind of slipped on grip, but definitely not a strength issue for Andrea. I've seen her deadlift a lot more than that.
Here comes Sarah for her second attempt, up 12.5 from her opening deadlift. Sarah with a nice second attempt, clean lockout. She'll receive 3 white lights for a good lift. Bradley Throgmorton from McHenry University coming to the platform for her second attempt. 170 kilos loaded up onto the bar.
Good attempt there for Bradly. Gets 3 white lights. Picks up an additional 12.5 kilos to her total. Elise Lee with a pretty hefty 15-kilo jump. Looking to just add on to those total. Again, deadlift is really one of those critical lifts in these types of competition when you're battling people for against dots placements. Every single kilo is going to matter. And this is where you're going to start seeing lifters really pushing themselves kind of to those limits and almost past their breaking points.
Very smooth second attempt
Yeah,
there.
and Elise isn't quite there yet at her breaking point. She gets 3 white lights and makes easy work again, 170 kilos.
Coming up next, we have Ashley Wang out of UIC Powerlifting. Her best deadlift, 170 kilos for her second attempt today, 5 kilos over that at 175. 385 pounds loaded onto the bar.
With this lift, this will put her at a forecasted placement of 463 dots. So she is within that mix in those top 3 for the podium of the women's side.
Ashley with a big brace and pull snaps up to the lockout, very speedy. Judges say
2-1, good lift.
that is a good lift. Sydney out of Integrated Strength coming out for her second attempt deadlift. 185 kilo PR on the deadlift. Made a 10 kilo jump from her previous attempt. She's at 175 now. Nice lockout. Judges will give her 3 white lights for a good lift. After Sydney, we have Kyra coming to the platform. Second attempt deadlift of 187.5 kilos, up 10 from the first.
This would just be 2.5 kilos below her all-time best.
A little bit of a grind coming off the floor. The lockout's a little bit smoother. Judges say 2-1, that'll be a good lift.
Yeah, and it really is about building that momentum and picking up that speed once you get that bar off the floor. Oftentimes, lifters find that the hardest part of the deadlift is just breaking it off the ground.
Oftentimes, you'll hear coaches yelling, be patient off the floor. It's important whenever you're doing the deadlift. Pull all the slack out, be patient, make sure you're in the right position before engaging that lockout. Izzy Rivera approaching the bar.
Huge deadlift for Izzy, 419 pounds. And it looked like the bar was just slipping out of her hands, unable to complete that lockout. A no lift for Izzy, but she will have one more go at that weight. It did not look like a strength issue for Izzy, just kind of needs to fix that grip, and hopefully she can come back and hit that. But as we finish out the second attempt for the deadlifts, we see a little bit of a shakeup in our placements. Ashley Huang is now in your first place leading position. She is at 471.52 dots, followed by Izzy Rivera with 469. So Izzy kind of opening that door for Ashley to come in with that miss. And on that third place position, we have Andrea Cerna with 456. But on screen, Cheryl Stewart with a 142.5 kilo grind gets that down signal. And despite going 2.5 kilos higher than her missed second attempt, she gets 3 white lights.
Very nice third deadlift there.
And again, as you were saying, patience there in sticking with the lockout and executing that lift.
Maram coming up to the bar, 150 kilos, up 2.5 from her previous.
Sending out those hearts to the fans in the crowd.
Quick off the floor again.
Let's go, Maram. Lock it out.
Looks like she
And
got
she
a clean
does.
lockout. Judges say 2 to
2 to 1.
1. Good lift from her own.
And this is what we want to see. This is where we want to see lifters hitting these all-time bests and really shooting for the stars here and hoping they get these lifts. This is what we want to see. It's really nice to see when these lifters execute.
Andrea coming up to the platform, retaking 162.5 for her third attempt deadlift.
Again, it didn't look like a strength issue on her second, just a bit of a grip adjustment needing to be made for the third. Let's see if she can make that here on 162.5. Let's go, Andrea. And can she lock it out? Gets that down signal. And let's see what the referees say. Was she able to maintain control of the bar? 3 white lights.
Great lift there. Great fight from Andrea.
Yeah, I mean, just talk about a comeback on that lift. I mean, from having barely gotten that weight up on the second attempt to locking it out and to almost looking like that right hand was opening up as she got that down signal. But the referees say that is a 3 white lights. Good lift.
Sarah coming up to the bar now 10 kilos above her previous attempt at 177.5 for her third deadlift.
Yeah, 10-kilo jump, Sarah.
Unfortunately not there today. However, great effort on the day from Sarah.
Still all smiles by Sarah and still walks away with a few PRs under her belt. Valiant attempt there for her, showcasing her talents on the primetime stage.
McKendree's Bradley Throgmorton coming to the platform, up 10 from her second attempt. She's taking 180 kilos for the third deadlift. Good effort from Briley. Unfortunately not there today. That will bring us to Sydney. Sydney's taking 180 kilos for her third attempt deadlift. Looks like the lifter may have elected to time out, so they're going to wait for the 1-minute timer to go down on the platform before they load the bar for the next lifter.
Yeah, it looked like Sydney was celebrating after she hit her 175 on the second attempt. She's signaling that she will be timing out, but that clock needs to run out. But Sydney, yeah, did celebrate on that second attempt. So I think she did either qualify for nationals or she got what she was looking for there off of the second. That's what you want to see, right? Be able to have that room left in the tank and save it for when it counts, right? Those national platforms and those higher, more meets with the bigger stakes.
Absolutely. Can't ask for anything more than walking away from the day knowing you gave it your all and left everything out there. These athletes work very hard for what they do. As the time runs out, the spotters and loaders will adjust the weight, which is the same weight as the previous lifter. We have Alice Lee coming to the bar for her third attempt deadlift.
And a nice little advantage there for Alice, being able to have that full minute to get her mind right and fully prepare herself mentally for this 180 kilo deadlift attempt.
Alice breaks the floor. Unfortunately, doesn't get it past her knees. Great effort, though. To the platform now. Ashley Huang, up 2.5 kilos. We're taking 182.5.
Breaking us past that 400-pound mark, 402 pounds to be specific. And for those of you watching from home, this is about the equivalent of 4 commercial gym plates. We saw her bench above 2 plates to the 242 mark, and now she's deadlifting 400 pounds. So again, another one of those total specialists, just kind of good at everything. Our collegiate lifter out of UIC in Chicago.
Ashley locks it out. Good speed for a third attempt. Judges
Yeah,
say that's a
3
good
white
lift.
lights.
Jumping in celebration. She's happy with that one.
Yeah, I think it's so nice to see here on screen when you have all those emotions get unleashed into the platform when the lifter is successful in hitting a lift like that. Not only was it a milestone lift and breaking 400 pounds, but who knows, it could have been that nationals qualifying total, a record of some sort, or just some personal goal that these lifters have set for themselves.
Here we have Izzy Rivera rounding out deadlifts for our women in the prime time session of the 2026 Illinois State Championship USA Powerlifting meet. Izzy retaking 190 kilos.
Gets that down command, and Izzy Rivera gets 2-1. Good lift. Wow, she celebrates with her handler there, Derek Samuels. Let's see a replay of that lift. I mean, just kind of going to show the mental fortitude to grind out that lift. I mean, from bar basically coming to a complete stop to getting those shoulders back and getting that down command. What a good lift by Izzy.
To the platform now we have Kyra. Kyra is our last deadlift of the day. Actually, 192.5 kilos loaded onto the bar. Up 5 from her second attempt. Fortunately, it is not there for Kyra on the day. However, great effort from all of our women in the primetime session today. Take a look at our female forecast.
Absolutely. And on the top left screen, you see who our winner is of the 2026 Illinois State Primetime Session 3. Ashley Huang, your lifter out of UIC with a massive 471.52 dots, followed by Izzy Rivera, 469, just 2 dots separating the first 2 placements, and following in that third place position, Andrea Serna with a 456, and rounding out those top 5, we have Elise Lee with a 426, and Bradly with a 423 dots, and that concludes your women's division. Up next, we have Dan Marrero taking his opening attempt of 212.5 to kick off the men's portion of the primetime session.
Very smooth opener there from Dan. Goes up with ease. He'll get 3 white lights.
And again, same case for the men as it was for the women. These guys are battling it out for these top placements in the primetime sessions.
James opening up with 240 kilos. Bar goes up with ease. He'll receive 3 white lights for a good lift. After James, we have Sterling taking it up to 250 kilos, 551 pounds loaded onto the bar. Sterling with a very smooth deadlift opener. Judges give him 3 white lights. That is a good lift.
And as a lifter weighing in at only 65.3 kilos, this is over 3.5 times his body weight for an opening deadlift. Just kind of going to show the pound for pound strength that some of these lifters are possessing in the primetime stage. Ulysses up next, 250 kilos, lifter out of Surge to New Levels Gym in Carroll Stream, Illinois. We see him coached by Mitch Delamerced.
Very easy deadlift opener.
Good attempt there, 3 white lights. And Jose Armando Diaz, who has been pretty unpredictable this entire session. He's been taking some pretty sizable jumps, so expecting to see, honestly, I don't even know where he's going to go from here, but 252.5 is the opening attempt, and that looked easy. So maybe 6, we'll see.
We'll see. He'll get 3 white lights for that one. That was a good lift, which will bring us to Parker Anderson out of McKendree University.
Parker currently possessing a 472 dots score, so one of those lifters that is battling it out for that top 3 podium position. And that was a good lift for Parker, 3 white lights. Ellie is up next, 262.5 kilos. Requesting that bar to be cleaned from any baby powder that might have gone into it. But Ellie's best deadlift, 275, opening up just 12.5 kilos below that. So we'll see if he's able to surpass that in today's session. Ellie last competed at the 2024 USAPL Raw Nationals in Salt Lake City, Utah, looking to qualify here for Nationals in Lombard, Illinois.
Very easy opener there out of Ellie. 3 white lights, it's a good lift.
Yeah, has made some good progress there. Paulo Savala up next, 265 kilos, opening deadlift attempt. 3 more deadlifts left to go. Our lifter out of Lockout Fitness in Chicago, Illinois, southwest side. I've had the pleasure of training with Paulo several times as he's a local to our gym. It's incredible to see the amount of progress and amount of kilos he's been able to put on all 3 lifts. And a very easy opener, 265. Moves that with ease.
After Paulo, we have Mark. Mark opening up with 280 kilos on the deadlift.
Yeah, putting us over 600 pounds, 280, 617 pounds. Mark having an incredible day so far, going 6 for 6, not missing any squats or bench press attempts. So I don't expect that momentum to be lost here today.
Very easy deadlift opener out of Mark. Plenty of room left in the tank there.
Yeah, and Mark is really that guy to beat right now. He's currently forecasted with a 491 dot point, with few lifters trailing behind in the 480, 470 range. So it really is Mark's to lose at this point. Ryan waiting for that bar to be called loaded. 282.5, adding 2.5 kilos to what Mark hit, 623 pounds for the opener.
Very speedy deadlift out of Ryan. Judges say that is a good lift. That'll take us back to the top of the lineup. Kicking off second attempts, we have Daniel taking 222.5 kilos.
Again, Daniel taking his time, 222.5 kilos.
Another smooth deadlift out of Daniel.
Yeah, I expect to see him probably pushing past 500 pounds as he smokes 490. Moving over to 551 pounds, James MacArthur. Previous best, 260, and he's hitting 10 kilos shy of that for a second attempt. Making a really good comeback after going 1 for 3 on squats. He went 3 for 3 on bench and is building consistent deadlift here as he looks to take on 250 on the second.
Unfortunately, not there for James. We'll see if he scratches his third or comes back and attempts that. To the platform next, we have Ellie taking 265 kilos, up 2.5 from the opener.
And I believe Ellie might be done with his competition. I saw him shaking the judge's hands after he finished his opener, so I think he might have qualified for nationals after hitting that successful opening attempt. So he might just be timing out in taking this 2.5 kilo jump. So very good sportsman-like gesture, allowing lifters to utilize that Ellie's full 60 seconds to rest and recover in between their attempts. In the case where Ellie might have zeroed out or skipped his attempt, that would have not allowed any lifters to utilize that extra time to rest and recover for their next attempt. So good sportsmanship there shown by Ellie. We see that clock timing out, and those lifters, spotters and loaders getting that bar ready for our next lifter, who will also be taking 265 kilos. Sterling Walker, our 67.5 kilo lifter out of Rockford, Illinois. And here we go. Bar is loaded for Sterling Walker, 265. Sterling on the hunt for that podium position. If successful with his weight, that'll put his dots at 485.714 dots points.
Patience off the floor. Sterling gets to the lockout. Looks smooth. Judges say that is a good lift. He'll receive 3 white lights. Next up, we have Jose taking 265 kilos.
Not as big of a jump as we might have expected to see from Jose, since he's taken 70 kilos, 20 kilo jumps in his past, but he took 12 and a half here. So let's see if he can build his total and try to see if he can shoot anywhere near 600 pounds for today. But it all starts with 265, 584 pounds.
Believe Jose. Oh, here he comes. 10 seconds left on the clock. Sets up and rips it right
Easy
away.
attempt there.
Very
And
easy.
I'm not sure if you recall, but did he do sumo his opening attempt?
I believe he may have.
Yeah, and then now he did conventional. That move incredibly so much easier
Might
than
be
I
the
mean.
move.
Let's go, Jose. Come on, lock in. But Parker Anderson, 270 kilos, 595 pounds, lifter out of McKendree.
Locks it out. Judges say.
And despite a tough sticking point, we're waiting on the judge's call, but they're signaling thumbs up, and that was a good lift for Parker. Waiting on our light system here, but that was a good lift for Parker Anderson, 270 kilos. Also taking 270 kilos, Ulysses taking a 20-kilo jump.
Ulysses with another very easy deadlift. That was 20 kilos above his opening attempt. Look to see another large jump out of him, perhaps. He'll get 3 white lights for that.
Paulo Zavala up next, 292.5 kilos.
20 kilos over his personal best here for his second attempt.
And a 27.5 kilo jump from opening the second attempt. This will put him at a 727.5 kilo total, which I believe is the qualifying total for the 100 kilo class. Again, these lifters are making these Hail Mary pulls and trying to qualify for nationals later this June in Lombard, Illinois. And it starts here, Paulo Zavala, 292.5 kilos.
Paulo fortunately cannot lock that one out. We'll look to see if he comes back and attempts that on the third, which brings us to Ryan. Ryan attempting our first 300 kilo deadlift of the day. His personal best is 275.
Talk about blowing it out of the water. With this pull, this will put Ryan's dots points at 471. Again, one of those lifters that is battling and is shuffling within those top 5 placements. So after we're done with our seconds, we'll see how he stacks after this 300 pull.
Unfortunately, does not break the floor with it. We'll see what he does for his third attempt. Mark also attempting 300 kilos.
And with this pull, if successful, will put Mark as the first lifter that to cross the 500 dots barrier. This will put him at 504 respectively. Lifting in the 90 kilo class. This will put his total at 775. That is a remarkable total for a 90 kilo lifter. He is also a junior lifter at only 20 years of age.
And he stands right up with it. Very
Yeah,
easy
I mean-
work of 300 kilos.
I mean, at this point, it really is Mark's to lose. It is his. He has the lead, right? So it really is going to be on who is going to sweep up and take that. As we see here, the men's top 10 placements, we have Mark, who we just saw lift 300 kilos, standing above with 505 dots points. And we see now after he put in his third and final deadlift, he's now at 515 forecasted, meaning that these are preliminary placements after, if successful with their third attempt deadlift. Sterling Walker 491, and we have Parker Anderson at 488. Again, really tight battle we see here, including in the 4th place position, 4th and 5th, 472, 471, and then down to 6 and 7, we have 465 and 461. So a lot of these placements can be shuffled as lifters take and jockey for position and submit those third deadlift attempt changes. But Dan Swole, 232.5 kilos.
Good fight for Daniel. Locks it out.
And if you know, you know. That looked like a Dan Swole opener to me. 3 white lights. Dan ends his day with 457 dots. A nice little comeback after taking pretty year-long hiatus dealing with injuries, but it's nice to see Dan coming back onto the platform. James MacArthur up next, retaking 250 kilos, was able to get it off the ground, but just narrowly missed it, getting it to his knees. Let's see if he can make those adjustments and hit it here for his third and final attempt. If successful, this will put James at a 450 dots points for the day.
Unfortunately, is not there for James. Great effort, though.
James ends his day with a 443 dots points and a 612.5 kilo total. Sterling Walker coming up next as a 65.3 kilo lifter, lifting over 600 pounds. Just put it to perspective, ladies and gentlemen. He weighs 145 pounds and is lifting over 600 pounds. It's about 4 times body weight deadlift. That's impressive stuff. That is elite level lifting right there we're witnessing by Sterling Walker. If successful with this lift, this will put him at 491 dots points. He's currently sitting in that second position, looking to fend off and further extend that second place lead. Again, Sterling taking his time during this setup, needs this lift to further solidify his silver.
Breaks the floor with it, but does not get it past the knees. Unfortunately, will not be there for Sterling on the day. Great effort, though.
And again, still sits as your second place in the prime time, but now he only sits at 485 dots points. So you have lifters that are coming up next looking to take that position. And talking about those lifters, Parker Anderson is one of those lifters looking to move past them and score 488 points if successful with this lift. This will put Sterling Walker into the third place position, and this will snag Sterling silver. And unfortunately, no lift there for Parker. Just making sure our lifters are safe getting off the platform. A valiant effort for Parker Anderson. Let's hope he makes a speedy recovery from his injury.
Coming up next to the platform, we have Ulysses taking 290 kilos. 20 kilo jump from his previous.
This will push Ulysses past the 700 kilo barrier into the 710 range.
His first two have moved very well. Let's see if the third moves the same. Past the knees and a smooth lockout.
What a good attempt there by Ulysses. Gets that down signal, all smiles. 2-1, good lift. Job well done by Ulysses. Jose Diaz up next. 290 kilos, 639 pounds. This will put his dots points at 471. Looking to break in preliminary into fourth place position in the primetime placements with a 471 dots. Pretty big jump here. Again, he switched to conventional after doing his opener sumo. Conventional move very well, taking a 25 kilo jump. Just shy of a 3 times bodyweight deadlift. Yeah, and unable to get that lockout, and fortunately dropped it just before he got that down command. So unfortunately, no lift. Jose Diaz ends his day with a 456 dots points and a 740 kilo total in the 100 kilo division. We got 2 lifters left to go. Paulo Zavala up next, 292.5 kilos. This will put him at 457 dots points and a 727.5 kilo total. Again, missed this on his second. This is the qualifying total for the 100 class. Paulo needs this if he wants to be represented in Lombard, Illinois later this June. Let's go, Paulo.
Unfortunately, not there for Paulo. It'll be a no lift.
And for our third and final lift and our last lift of the session, Mark Perrone, 317.5 kilos, 700 pounds. This was his to lose, and now this is his show. Last lift of the day, 515 dots points if successful with this third attempt deadlift. 700-pound pull is over 3 times his body weight for the 20-year-old junior. And Mark Perrone, 700 pounds. Can he lock it out? And unfortunately, unable to get that lift, but he's still your champion. And ladies and gentlemen, here we have the final standings for our men's primetime session. Mark Perrone, who we just saw, scoring a 504 dots points, taking that gold medal position. Sterling Walker trailing behind with a 485 dots points, and Parker Anderson, who tried to sneak in for that second place, ends up in third with 482, with Diego Roberts from the earlier session scoring a 472, landing in fourth place, and Ellie rounding at that top 5 with 465 dots to close out our top 5 in the men's position. And transitioning over to the top 10 women, we have Ashley Huang from UIC out of Chicago scoring a 471 dots, taking that gold place position, and Izzy out of McKendree taking 469 as her final dot score, taking the silver medal position. And rounding out that podium, we have Andrea Cerna with a 456 dot score, and rounding out the top 5, Elise Lee with 426, and Bradly, also from McKendree, scoring a 423 dots to round out those top 5 placements. And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the third and final session for the 2026 USA Powerlifting Illinois State Championship primetime here in Bloomington, Illinois. We got to witness a lot of amazing local lifters competing, from the very first time our teen lifters to some very elite primetime level lifters who you might see compete later in primetime sessions for the USAPL Raw Nationals Championship. This concludes the session, and we will close out the stream.